Hey, Houston fans, I am so happy.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1.
Are you ready? I was born for this. Look, every Sunday, whenever we play, I get that text. Are you ready?
Texans!
The pitch. And Altuve hits it in the air pretty deep to left. Carter is back at the wall, leaves, and it is gone! It's gone! How do you like that?
One game at a time.
Green still with it. Gets it back, lets it fly, and got it!
Win on two, 1-2.
What is good, H-Town? On today's Texans Rundown, I have a 3-round mock draft of 3 college prospects that the Houston Texans should take an actual look at and have them as legitimate considerations in this year's draft. And they all are players that could be available at the 42nd overall pick and the 59th overall pick in the second round, the 2 top picks that the Houston Texans possess.
You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.
That boy is good. H-Town, get your listening ears ready, strap up your boots, and let's go. Welcome back, H-Town. Welcome back. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to spend a few minutes here on Everything H-Town Sports Debate Show. And I'm your dreadhead host, Hot Topic TV. And like always, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment. Man, let your boy know, like I always say, your boy is a man of the people. I'm one of you. I'm a Houston Texans fan, and I like to bring all the latest, and I like to bring anything regarding the Houston Texans. Your boy is going to bring it to your screen. You dig? I got you. But today, on this rundown, I was just sitting back and I was thinking, man, I'm like, man, look, who would be a good fit for this Houston Texans roster? Nick Caserio has pretty much done his thing in this offseason. In this free agency, he grabbed some major positions of need, and he grabbed some major ball players, man. He brought in the Daniil Hunter. He brought in the Danico Autry. He brought in the Al Shire. He brought in these big players. And, dude, I mean, offensively and defensively. I mean, he brought in a Stephon Diggs. He brought in a Joe Mixon. The guy has been filling these positions of needs with some ballers, man. So really all it is, no team would have 100% of what would I say, all-star players, Pro Bowl players, all pro caliber players. No team would have every position filled with those type of players. I know our defensive line, I say specifically the defensive tackle, may not have no huge names that anyone really know or anyone believes that's a prime time all-pro type starter. But they have a lot of bodies that they can throw at it and rotate. And they have some guys who have started on NFL rosters at the defensive tackle position. But so far, so good with Nick Caserio. He has filled this roster with some premium players, some premium weapons. It has been lovely. He has done his thing. But a couple of guys that I believe that the Houston Texans could add to this roster and make sure that this roster is a legitimate roster going in and going into the season, man, is I think Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryans is going to lean a little more defensively, or they may take one defensively, one offensively. And with the top two picks that they have, the 2 second-round picks, which is the 42nd and the 59th, they may go one offense, one defense, or they may go 2 defense, because a position of weakness to me is still the cornerback position. The cornerback position opposite Derek Stingley. And yeah, they brought in a lot of bodies. They brought in a lot of guys who were highly touted picks that's been on multiple teams and still haven't proven to be legitimate NFL starters. But they can make this too deep roster at the cornerback position very deep and can make this team very good. But I believe we still need a guy opposite Derek Stingley who can be a starter. And also, I loved what Jalen Petrie did, but Jalen Petrie still has to prove it again, man. He did it in the Lovie Smith defense, but in the D'Amico Ryans defense, he looked horrible. He was just out there. He was a body, and he didn't make anything happen. But a guy that I like, one guy that I believe the Houston Texans should look at, the guy is from Georgia. He's a safety, man. And I like this guy. His name is Javon Bullard. I'm trying to make sure, please forgive me if I didn't say it correctly, but his name is Javon Bullard. He's a safety from Georgia. Pro Football Focus Big Board had him ranked as the 48th overall prospect. I mean, the way this draft is going to go with the skill positions, the wide receivers, the quarterbacks, all these people at the top end of the draft, it's going to push a lot of star people down the board. So I believe if Pro Football Focus has this guy around the 48-50 range, Houston Texans have their first pick at 42 overall, and this guy could be a steal. I believe him and Nubin are the best two safeties on the board. I don't know, Nubin may be gone around the 42nd, but if he in there, Nubin would be my first choice. But if not, I would like to have Javon Bullard come to the Houston Texans, man. That would be a nice add to this roster and a nice add to this defense for D'Amico Ryans. Also, okay, this guy right here, this is something that Pro Football Focus has on Javon Bullard. This is what they think about the guy. It's like a small mini scouting report. We're not going into any major details. This is just a 3-round mock draft of three guys that I believe the Houston Texans should take a serious look at and serious consideration at bringing in to bolster this roster and make it that much deeper. But Pro Football Focus say Bullard is a versatile secondary player with a fearless mentality. No, though he isn't an elite athlete, his competitiveness, quickness, tackling ability projects him to be a starting role as a nickel defender. He won't be the nickel here, but if he could possibly slide to the nickel, that means Jalen Petrie can stay at his spot. It can be versatile. Or you can move Petrie to the nickel, and you can keep Javon Bullard at the safety. So he's a versatile player. I know he's not just a prime off the wall type athlete, but the guy just know how to play football, and he will fit in this roster. And getting D'Amico Ryans tutelage, it will be perfect. Second guy on my big board, we gonna call it the Dreadhead host big board, the Houston Texans top 3 big 3 mock draft. But on my big board, another guy that I have, I'm gonna go offensively. Like I said, Xavier Worthy. Wide receiver Xavier Worthy from the University of Texas. I have him on my big board as, my second pick that I believe that the Houston Texans, if he's still available at the 59th overall pick, the second round pick that the Houston Texans have, you could bring in another weapon because, we brought in Stephon Diggs, but we brought him in on a 1-year deal. Actually had multiple years, but Nick Caserio cut those additional years, and now it's primarily a 1-year deal. So we might need to add another wide receiver, as well as Nico Collins is going to require extension. Hopefully he balls out and they extend him, but we will need another wide receiver. I'm not really sure what John Mechie is going to bring to the table. Last year it was kind of hard to watch, but he was coming back from cancer. So this year he may be better in shape. He may be better, but I'm not going to put too much stock in that. So we need to bring in another wide receiver. And Xavier Worthy is blazing fast. He has the combine's fastest time in NFL history. The guy is a burner. The guy is a deep threat. He will burn you. He will take the top off. And pairing this guy with a lot of these players, can you imagine adding Xavier Worthy to Stephon Diggs, to Nico Collins, to Tank Dell, and Xavier Worthy?
Put some respect on our name.
Oh my God. You would not be able to handle that, and it will give defensive coordinators nightmares. I have one more guy that's on my big board that I believe the Houston Texans should add to their roster, man. as via the NFL draft. And like I said, this is your dreadhead host. It's my 3-round mock draft, man. These are guys that I've been anticipating the Houston Texans bring in for visits, or I believe that would add true value into this team. These guys will possibly play like first-round talents or high second-round talents, which they will be, because both of the Texans picks are top 60 picks. So I believe these guys will bring some good value, and they don't have to be the guy right now. Texans brought in so many veteran leaders, so much veteran leadership, plus the Stingleys, plus the CJ Strouds, plus the Christian Harris's, the guys that were the young guns. They getting older. They have one more year of experience. I think this is year 3 for Christian Harris, year 2 for Will Anderson Jr., year 2 for my boy CJ Stroud. So these guys have more experience. These guys are going to be more prepared this season, and they're going to be ready to go, man. The offensive line had tons of injuries, so hopefully that can stay healthy. We brought in a better running back, Motor Singletary. He was a good back, but I believe my boy Mixon is a better back, man. He's bigger, he's stronger, better downhill runner, and he's a good zone runner. Plus, he already kind of ran this system. Maybe different terminology, but the same type of system. He know what it is already. Like I said, so another guy that I believe the Houston Texans, and I know I talked about it in the beginning, the defensive tackle position. And the guy just kind of screwed up 20 days before the draft. I like what he can do. I know he's overweight, but the guy is a monster. He just tosses grown men around. The dude is a beast. But T'Vondre Sweat, the defensive tackle from the University of Texas, this man is a man amongst men, a man amongst boys. He's slinging grown man all around the field with one arm. The dude has some get up from that position to be so huge. I like what this guy can add. He may be a 2-down player, but DeMeco Ryans like to rotate his defensive linemen anyway. And we have a ton of them on this roster. So bringing this young man in would be good. But I don't know what Nick Caserio and DeMeco Ryans think, because 20 days before the draft, he just got a DWI. The man was drinking out at 4 a.m, just got arrested right before the draft. How these young dudes keep screwing they careers up. But the guy is talented enough, so he will get picked up. Don't know the full story, so I'm not going to down the man. This is all allegedly. It's been reported. So I like what the young gun can bring to us. Hopefully Nick Caserio and DeMeco Ryans talk to the guy, talk to his representative, whatever, and still see that the guy brings value to this Houston Texans defense and this Houston Texans defensive line, and bring the kid in. But I have a couple of extra guys that I really like as well. But these are guys at a position. The top 3 guys that I was talking about was pretty much a position of need, because Jimmy Ward, 1 more year on his deal. I think he's about 32, 33 years old. So you can technically draft a safety and still have our other safety as well. Still keep, who we have on this roster. So we need a new guy. And still keep Jalen Petrie, So you can add this young guy, and maybe your safeties of the future is Jalen Petrie and Javon Bullard. You know what I'm saying? Or, like I said, we can bring in a D tackle with the 59. You may not pick him. You may not pick T'Vondre Sweat with your 42nd overall pick, but he may be right there for the taking with your 59th overall pick, and you might do it like that. Guys. But another guy that I believe I would take, but I don't know how important they believe this is for this position, but I would take Edgerrin Cooper, linebacker from Texas A&M. That guy is a baller, and we do need a guy. I don't know if he's gonna be the middle linebacker, because we brought in Al Shire, and he plays the will. He plays he plays multiple positions. All these guys can be interchangeable, as well as Christian Harris. So I wouldn't bat an eye if the Houston Texans did decide to bring Edgerrin Cooper in, Texas A&M linebacker, man. Those guys are ballers, man. That guy can bring a lot to this Houston Texans roster. He's a sideline-to-sideline guy. I know it's cliche. The guy will stick his head in there. He's pretty decent in coverage as well. They can do a lot with him, especially under the tutelage of DeMeco Ryans. But Pro Football Focus has T'Vondre Sweat as the 74th overall player on their big board. So getting him at 59th, I wouldn't say it's a reach, but you never know. Guys that talented, that big, that nimble, a lot of teams may take them early. That's around 20-something picks early, which Pro Football Focus has them at 74th, and you have picked them at about 59th. So, you know, a few picks. You do the math, baby. I'm doing the football talking. You guys do the math, baby. But this is what Pro Football Focus has on him as a scouting report for T'Vondre Sweat. Sweat has the size that you can't teach. At his best, he's an impact, versatile interior defensive player but weight and conditioning concerns, will determine his career in the NFL, man. So the man is overweight, and he's a party guy, and he just got a DWI, so he might slide even further, and I believe the Houston Texans may be able to scoop him in the 3rd round, man, and you use that 2nd round pick on a corner, or use that 2nd round pick on an additional wide receiver or something like that, man. But Houston Texans, they have a lot to look into. These are 3 players that I believe the Houston Texans should take a serious look at. And like I said, Adrian, I like him. You could put all these guys in the same category. Even if one of these guys are there in the 3rd round, man, I like all these guys. These are the guys that I think the Houston Texans should look at. If you look at some of my old videos, I kind of predicted Stephon Diggs coming to the Houston Texans. I have a video. Done a video actually a day before the Houston Texans actually brought Stephon Diggs to the team. But these are some guys that the Houston Texans should take a look at. If one of these guys end up on the roster, your boy was on point again. But until then, I'm the Dreadhead host, Hot Topic TB. It's been real and peace.
Texas! Win on 2, 1, 2.